Hello and welcome back to Crafting with the Desmond-Fish Public Library. I'm Beth and today I'm going to show you something neat that you can do with all of your old paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls. Now I know you've all heard of hoarding toilet paper, but I also hoard the rolls after the fact because they are an excellent material to construct lots of fun stuff out of. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make basically something decorative you're going to hang on your wall. It's pretty simple and fun. And the basic unit we're going to use to make it are just slices of the cardboard. You end up with this nice shape. When we're done, it won't look like I actually made it out of toilet paper. It'll look much nicer, and yours can too. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my roll and squish it. And now that it's squished, it's much easier to cut. And it's much easier to cut a straight line, which I often have a challenge with. And it doesn't matter really the width you have, you just want to be consistent. So while I am eyeballing this, you're also totally welcome to measure it, get a ruler, and then mark with a pencil all the way down. And then once I have a bunch of these, I am just going to play with them. Arranging them into shapes and such that I like. I like sort of organic looking shapes. So I think I might start with that as my base. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can connect them to each other. If you have a stapler, you can just stick the stapler in, chunk, and they're attached and slowly build it up that way. Today I'm going to use a hot glue gun because it dries much faster. That way I can hold it up and show it to you as I go. If you use a hot glue gun, I recommend putting something underneath because hot glue does drip out of the end here. You don't want to ruin your table. You can also just use Elmer's glue. You just get some, you're going to spread it on the areas that touch. And then you have to wait for it to set, and it's going to be moving while you glue more things. So if you have a bunch of clothes pegs, you can just peg it together, and that way you have it stable so you can keep working on it and build it bigger, and then once it's dry, you can remove the clothes pegs. Something I like to do anytime I am using clothes pegs and glue to have something set is I want to make sure I don't glue my clothes peg to my project, because I've done that before. And a neat little trick I like is to use a bit of wax paper, because the wax paper will just peel off any dried glue surface really nicely. So I just cut it little bits, fold it in half, and I put it first. That way, my clothes peg is really only touching the wax paper. So if I had a little bit of extra glue that got anywhere, up in here or around, I know that when I take this off and the glue is dry, the clothes peg is going to come away nicely, and I can just peel this right off. I am now going to cut out some more pieces so we have more to work with, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I've glued together just 6 of these here to be my base that I'm going to start with, and you can see I cut out a bunch more. I actually in the end decided I was going to measure, which is why my measuring board is here. And these are all just 1 inch, and it made it really nice for me because the toilet paper rolls that I had were 4 inches long. So I just laid them on the mat and drew 3 lines every inch and then snipped them. So I'm just going to play with this and decide what I want. Do I want to make a flower shape? Do I want it to be symmetrical? symmetrical. Just sort of adding the same all the way around. Or just as long as the roll is touching another roll in two places. So it'll be touching there and there, protected in there. It's really doesn't matter. It's more what you like. And the nice thing about this one is you can fuss about and do a bunch of different patterns and keep changing it until you find something you really like. So I might start, let's see if I can tip this, with something a little bit like that. Just a nice sort of organic shape. So now I'm going to start gluing these together. I have sort of an idea of where they're going to go. I have a plan. Let me find which ones are not connected. And what I find worked nicely for me is to put the glue on the one I'm sticking in. And just put a little smear on both sides. And then push it in until the glue hits the other two. Boop. And then I'm going to slide it in until two bits of glue make contact. I'm going to give a little pinch to make sure the glue really got there. And one of the reasons why I'm building it on a flat surface like this instead of picking it up and playing around with it as much is that I want to be able to put it on a wall. So I want it to have a sort of flat front to it, the easier to hang it. And you can also play around. They'll sort of stay the shape you put them into. So I can make one much narrower than the others and wedge it much further in. Or I could make one much bigger and rounder and have it go out like that. You can see. So cardboard is a really versatile material and is often, you have it anyways with lots of stuff. You know, your cereal boxes, shipping boxes, paper towel rolls. There's so much cardboard around us. And I love just cardboard and a hot glue gun. There's all sorts of cool stuff that you can make. I and my glue gun here because it likes to fall over. There we go. So I'm just going to keep sticking stuff together and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've glued quite a number together and it's starting to take shape. And one thing I like to do as I go along is just hold up against a wall because you get a much better sense of what it looks like. So it's really all about the contrast between the color of the wall, the lightness and the darkness of it. And that gives me a better idea of being like, I think I want another one here. So if you're doing it with a hot glue gun and it dries very quickly, you have the advantage that you can pick it up and fuss about with it. If you do not have a hot glue gun or you want to do it with children, or if you like things to be tidy and you don't like the little bit of glue strings sticking on everything, Elmer's glue works fine too, and you can just sort of stand up and stare down at it from above and get a sense of what it looks like from a distance. So this side. And really, that's all there is to it. You find a roll, you squish it, measure it into 1-inch segments, snip it, get whatever type of glue you have, and just start building. And one of the things I love about working with materials that I just find around my house is I'm not so scared to ruin it. Sometimes if you have the really nice art materials, you're like, I don't want to mess this up. But this is just cardboard. Who cares what happens to it? Which means I'm free to just sort of play around and do what I want and make what I want. So there you go, folks. That's how to turn cardboard rolls into art. I hope you enjoyed, and we will be back next week with another video. Goodbye.